Hey everyone, Steve here with TC's Rockets. Got some new stuff in today that we're going to go over. This is for the vintage collection for Star Wars. We've got the brand new Slave One. Obviously, as fans, one of their biggest favorite ships that's been out since the original series. It's still a fan favorite. Obviously, Boba Fett's a great favorite, Jango Fett. So we're going to review the new one. But I did bring out, just to kind of show a timeline comparison a little bit, this is the original Slave One that came out. This was the 80s version. Again, good size vehicle. The one thing that wasn't really done very well back and then was scale. They made the stuff looked good, but the scale on it really wasn't that great. So you kind of got this weird stuff like the Falcon obviously should be way larger than it was. Toys R Us did do a version later that was much closer to being accurate size, which was really great. We're not going to review that right now. We're going to keep talking about this, but I did want to bring these up as a comparison just to kind of show you guys the differences and kind of the evolution of where we've gone with the Slave One. So like I said, this is the one out of the 80s. It does have the ramp and everything that comes down. You've got Carbonite Solo in there. Then you go back to, we're going to go leap forward a little bit. We're going to go to the 90s. This is what we got. Now these are all done on the same molds from the original ones. So again, we still got the same scale that we got originally, but obviously you can see they've done a much better job on getting to the paint now. So a little more detail. The original ones really was just one solid gray mass, and then they set you a pack of stickers, put them on your thing, make it a little more design. This, that I've gone the other way. There still were some stickers to apply when you originally got this, but you obviously had a lot more detail applied to the vehicle just to make it look more realistic, more authentic, and more roughed vintage, like it's been out in space. It's got a little time, paint's worn off. So again, I really enjoyed the vehicles. I like the nostalgic side. I actually got this for my son when he was a kid because that's what was out, and made sure he was getting some of the stuff that I played with, which I thought was really cool. So I'm going to show you briefly the package, and then we're going to talk about the vehicle itself, the new one. So fans loving this. They all the things have gone up much better since they switched the packaging being the vintage looking collection versus just putting it in a random box. Fans like myself who grew up on this stuff, and all the newer people, there's just something about the nostalgic of this box. It gets people really excited, makes them feel like, God, that's just so awesome. That's Star Wars, that's the vehicle. So this is the package it comes with. Does not include any action figures or anything like that. You're only going to get what I'm going to show you. So just be aware, again, the no action figure included clause on the box if you pick one of these up. So we'll move that out of the way. The first really cool thing, and I've got it kind of set up here already so you guys can see it, is it does come with this plastic stand in the box, so you can actually mount it into the mode if it's flying in space. So back in the 90s and 80s, you'd have a handle back here so you could actually fly the vehicle around, but there was no way to actually like have it propped up and stood up. The first thing when I pulled this out and put this on the stand, I thought, oh my God, this just, as the fan of me, love it. Love the fact I can do that. Now the scale already, you can see, they've done a much better job on the scaling of the vehicle. It is larger, it does feel more accurate. I still think it's a little smaller in the size that it's really supposed to be, but it definitely is getting way closer on there. So we're gonna put that away. We're gonna pull this off the stand, and we're gonna just talk about some of the details on this that they did a really nice job on. So the first thing, let's start in the back. They do have two bombs on the both sides here, and you have buttons on the sides that will release and drop them. They have your wings that will turn here. So the other thing that they've done on this, which is really cool, is when you open this up, the cockpit, to get into your cockpit area, there's actually 3 seats in here. So if you remember watching episode 2 when you had Jango and the first time you saw the Slave One and that thing, Jango was obviously piloting, but he had the seats behind him, which I think now is really cool. You don't just have the one seat for one figure in there. You can actually put 3 figures in here and display them. Give you guys a little better look maybe at how that is set up in there so you guys can see. We'll try to do a little close-up shots too so you guys can get a little better. Now, there is one negative that I do want to talk about this. So the first part, again, we're going to do, you get the slide out ramp that obviously they're going to load Solo in. Now, this is the one thing I didn't like that they did. Everything else I'm actually really excited about. Up front, here's my Han Solo. Here's my Carbonite. It actually doesn't fit in here, and if you look, the ramp actually goes nowhere. Now, you could obviously stick something in there if you're playing, you want to hide something or whatever, but this actually goes nowhere other than just the nostalgic feel that this ramp's coming down. It doesn't actually go anywhere. The Solo actually fits when you open the top part here. It actually is fitting in the front of the ship here. So, minor. Obviously, when you do things with toys, you're trying to make things feel and work better, and where can you put them? This is where they decided to do that. I don't know that I super care, other than the fact that obviously the nostalgic value of the fact that he was supposed to go in this end and he doesn't anymore, that kind of ruins it a little bit for me, but it's so minor on the sense that I'm just so excited to get this vehicle in the scale that it's in and the detail it's in. We're going to slide the ramp up. There is another feature on this back end that they did do as well. So there's basically a little prisoner trap that they've added to this vehicle, which obviously did not come with the normal vehicle at any point. This is something they've added for this. You've got this big cavity up here, so they decided to do something with that. And that's where this little ramp comes in, because you can place that in there, close it back up. This is why, again, they don't have an entrance into here. The old one would fold down and then the part would come out and you would actually be able to input everything there. You can't do that on this vehicle because they've added this. Now we're going to go to the other side. You've got your guns and everything there, but we're going to go to the other side that opens up. And this is the things that I do like that they're doing is when they did the original Falcon, as a child, I looked at it and I had only like this small area I could actually play my guys in. One of the things I did do on that vehicle is I actually pulled out the cardboard insert so I could put more guys in there and use more of the vehicle. When they did the last Falcon for Toys R Us, they went back to that kind of mode where they actually opened up much more of the vehicle, gave you a lot more room, a lot more of the space inside the ship to use and see more going on. And that's kind of what they've done here, which I think is really nice. This entire side panel opens up on this ship. So you can actually see everything in there. You can place your figures in there. You can get your guys in there and put them in the seats. But you have now a little docking area and everything to work with as well. So you actually get a lot more of the vehicle to use, even though they've taken away the ramp input going inside the ship and done something else with this space. Obviously the look of it, you would never know. I could put this down and I could still have guys standing outside the ship like they're gonna be loading them up, but you obviously can't go in that side anymore. I don't know, like I said, that I care. I really just enjoying this ship. I enjoy the fact that I could put guys in here and I could transport guys. I like the fact that this is all open up. You'd still see the prisoner in here as well. Obviously, you can't put it in really from this side from the way that they made the trap prisoner thing. You're still gonna have to get it from behind, but you can still see it in here when you open up the side and you can kind of visualize everything else. Overall, I think they've done a phenomenal job. I really like the way it sits. I really like the way it looks. I'm really enjoying the fact that, again, similar to I showed you the comparison of the older two of just the paint job. This isn't just one scale thing, throw something on it. They've taken time to layer some of the paint and some of the details so that this just feels much more natural. It's not just a solid gray, let's throw even another color or two, which is what they did in the 90s. The 90s is still one solid color and they've just put paint on top. This, you can actually, when you get up closer to it, you can actually see layers where they've put 3 or 4 different types of painting on to give you a lot more detail to the ship and make it look like it's been weathered, it's been out, he's been flying this thing. I mean, if you're looking at the movie timeline, Jango Fett had this early, and Boba Fett, 20 years later, 30 years later, he's still flying the same ship. It's not going to be in perfect shape where he's chasing guys down, he's going to all these other planets. So I do like the fact that maybe at one point, this was all perfect red, this was all perfect green, and just over time and him using the ship, it's just kind of worn down. But I do think they did a really good job on the details. I think that no matter what, being able to pull it out, enjoy it first, but being able to do this is amazing. Because now you can actually post it up. It's almost like having a statue in your house where you can just set your Slave One up and it's just sitting there and your guys can sit there staring at you as well. I really appreciate you guys checking us out today. Thank you very much. Please click subscribe at the bottom if you like the video. Click like if you like the video. You can also check us out at tcsrockets.com. Thank you.